Good morning, everyone. Welcome to just north of Lake Como. There is a tiny little lake, and Tom just told me the name of it, and I completely forgotten it as I started filming. But we're in the area of Lake Como, and today I wanted to bring you a grounding yoga flow. Really, what has inspired me throughout this journey is the importance of presence and really remaining connected to what is beneath us, and how important it is to be connected to ourselves as well. I think what I've learned since being on the road in the van is it can be a little bit more challenging to put yourself into a routine and really developing that sense of grounding energy, that connection to this moment. And I really was called to do this practice because I needed a little bit more grounding energy in my life as well. So I wanted to come and share this practice with you guys today. So I hope you enjoy it. So most of you, if you haven't practiced with me before, I really encourage that maybe you grab a block or a cushion just to have handy next to you for the start of the practice, as we're going to come to seated to begin. So you can sit how I was just sitting before in Virasana, or if you like, you can come into Sukhasana, which is very similar to, you're probably familiar with it, cross-legged position. But this way, try and make sure that there's real awareness with the way that the legs are placed right now. Maybe a gentle little flexing through the feet, being mindful of how the knees are feeling today. If you're feeling a little bit tight or sore, feel free to pop the bottom up on a cushion or a block, as I mentioned. Otherwise, when you're ready, just placing the hands onto the knees. Just take a couple of moments to just really be here in your body. So just taking some intuitive movements, maybe moving the shoulders up and down, side to side. Maybe just drawing a couple of semicircles with the neck. Just finding what feels good in this moment with your body. Once you've kind of settled into this space, I just invite you to bring your awareness to the soles of the feet. So that gentle little flexing, maybe the wiggling of the toes. Gently bringing your attention to the base of the spine. So how the sitting bones are just placed into the earth, and that might even mean that we take a little sway from side to side, feeling that kind of stability and length in the spine, and that evenness of weight distribution across either of the sitting bones. Gently bringing that attention as we rise up through the body to the belly. A very subtle pulling of the belly button towards the spine to feel that little bit of lift up through the vertebrae. And take a moment to inhale, squeeze the shoulders up towards the ears. And with an exhale, allow the shoulders to just glide down the back body. And then step by step, we begin to bring our attention to the crown of the head. Feel the sense of elevation, growth, lengthening, almost as if you had this cylinder of light just running up through the spine and lifting you up. Each inhale you take allows you to rise a little bit higher. And each exhale you take allows you to just soften a little bit more into the body. And to begin our practice today, we will start with some grounding breath. So just begin to inhale to the count of 4, 3, 2, 1, and exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale once again, 4, 3, 2, 1, and exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Now we're just going to add some breath retention on inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold the breath 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold the breath 4, 3, 2, 1. 1. Inhale again. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. And hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. We inhale together. Hold. Exhale. And hold. Once again, inhale. Hold. Exhale. And hold. And then maybe you take one more round of this breath, or you can just settle back into your organic rhythm of breathing. But we'll just be here for a few moments, just really absorbing and paying attention to how it feels to have just taken this moment to take a step back and to really be here with what is happening in this moment. And that is the breath. And once you're ready, we're going to slowly begin to open up the eyes and make our way into a child's pose. So while we're transitioning there, I'm just going to talk to you about the practice today. We're going to start with a couple of yin poses to really begin to invite that grounding energy into our practice to start with. And then we'll move into a little bit of soft flow. This is going to be a shorter practice than normal, but I hope you guys enjoy it. So as you arrive, we're going to connect the big toes. The knees are going to be spread wide, just about a space for your torso to be able to fit through. And gently begin to walk the hands forward. So for those of you that might already start to experience a little bit of pinching in the knees, or this is just not working, there's lots of options that you can take. You can maybe take a pillow in between the belly and the earth, and that can also be placed underneath the heart. You can maybe take a cushion underneath the hamstrings, in between the calves and the hamstrings, that little space as well. But when you're ready, we'll walk the hands forward. I've got a little ant on me. Oh, lots of bugs. And then slowly begin to soften forehead to the earth. Now, I'm inviting you to come to this extended child's pose, but feel free to maybe stack the forearms on top of each other. We're going to be here for a few minutes, a little bit longer than normal. You might even bring the hands together into a prayer and just place them gently onto the back of the head. There's lots of options here for your practice today, and the most important thing with a grounding practice is that we really do and honour that presence in our practice. When we arrive, we take a few moments to really be with our breath. And as we settle into the space, it's really important in a yin practice that we acknowledge where we might feel discomfort, areas where this is really not working for us. And before we settle into stillness, we maybe adjust it. We find something more appropriate to the body we have in this moment. So maybe the body you had yesterday might have been really open and flexible, but actually the body you had today, because it's the morning or because you're a bit tired, is a little bit more restricted. What we do in a yin practice is we constantly check in. We ask ourselves these questions: am I being honest with myself with how I'm feeling? And as you begin to surrender into the body, into the earth which is beneath us, really pay attention to the points of the body which now feel heaviest, where you really start to feel this kind of melting and softening. Is it the tops of the feet? Is it the outer hips just gliding away from maybe some tension in the lower back? Is it the forehead beginning to press into the earth or into your arms? Wherever you notice it, just keep your attention there. Keep your focus on this really heavy part. And when we're ready, we'll slowly place the hands back onto the earth. And really take your time with this one. There is no rush in a yin practice, but the sunshine just came out. We slowly come up into a tabletop position. So as we come up into tabletop, sorry, there's a train just about to pass, so hopefully you guys can still hear me. But if you can't hear me, then you just pop your eyes into the screen and have a little look. But as you arrive up into tabletop, just take a moment to maybe draw some circles with the hips. Just once again, that intuitive movement that I mentioned at the start of the practice, just trusting the body knows what's best. A little wiggle from side to side, just allowing blood to flow back into those areas where it was maybe a little bit restricted from the child's pose. Okay, so when we're ready, we're going to cross the ankles over, come onto our bottoms. It might involve you shuffling forwards a little bit. I'm going to come to face the camera just so you can see a bit better what I'm doing. And I want you to bring the soles of the feet together and come into one of my favourite yin poses. And even if you're practicing this in the morning, it's a really nice way to just wake up the body in a softer and kinder way, rather than just going straight into hardcore ashtanga or vinyasa or some hit work or whatever it is. This is a nice way to wake up the body. So we'll connect the soles of the feet, and you can do a little alignment check just by placing two hands on top of each other, just placing them into that space in between the hips and the heels. Now, it's a grounding practice today, I just want you to take a moment. I've got socks on because it's a little bit chillier here than I expected. But if you haven't got socks on, then you can take your thumbs and maybe just begin to draw some circles into the inner arches of the feet. And you might do this with your eyes open, just so you can see your feet, or you can close off the eyes and really connect to that part of the body which is most in contact with this earth beneath us. And I've been doing a lot of barefoot walking since I've been away, and it's just such a powerful way to awaken all of the muscles in the base of the foot and really feel more connected. So if you get a chance today, maybe take your shoes off and go for a little walk around your front lawn. It feels great. So just giving your feet a little bit of love and appreciation, and then when we're ready, we're slowly, maybe even wiggling from side to side. You might even take the hand to either side of the sitting bones just to get that squishy part of the bottom out of the way. And then slowly begin to fold in on yourself, coming into this kind of cocoon shape before the butterfly emerges, allowing the chin to drop towards the chest and just releasing any need to make the pose look a certain way, just feeling into that natural rhythm, that natural guidance that the body's telling you. Now, if you're feeling a little bit of pain in the knees or this isn't working, maybe you pop cushions or blocks underneath the knees. You can also elevate the hips slightly by popping a cushion underneath the sitting bones. So there's, again, in yin, there's loads of ways that we can make the poses more appropriate for our bodies. So once you're ready, just settling in, taking that time once again to just be there with the breath. As you take a big inhale, maybe notice what parts of the body now begin to expand with the inhale. And with a real emphasis and focus on the exhale, how do we soften and let go a little bit more? always think that butterfly is just such a lovely way to really begin to experience this idea of going inwards, folding in on the lower body. And it's this time to kind of prompt self-reflection. What are you working through at the moment? What do we need to let go of? What is weighing us down? And this grounding energy can really bring this kind of introspective energy into us. And the mind will naturally busy and wander as we go deeper and deeper into the poses. What's important to remember is that it's not about having a clear mind, it's the awareness of when the mind has wandered. And we use the anchor of our breath as the way to just come back to this moment. So just watch that rise and fall, the outward and the inward, the expansion and the contraction. And we'll just be here for a couple more breaths. And when you're ready, slowly, and take your time with this one, really feel the body as you kind of emerge from this cocoon. Take a moment just to be still, keeping the legs where they are, but just allowing some soft and gentle movement into the upper body. Sometimes I find that the most magical part about our yin practice is those moments after you emerge from that pose. What feelings, what sensations come up in the body. And slowly just begin to draw the knees back together. You can guide them with your hand. And we'll just take a moment to just open up the space in the lower back a little bit more for those of you guys that might have started to maybe get a little bit of tension in the outer hips. So keep the knees nice and bent. And we're just going to give ourselves a big hug here. So wrapping the arms around the backs of the hamstrings. You can have maybe the heels on the earth if that's more comfortable, or the soles of the feet onto the ground. Now I want you to really just bow in towards the lower legs, and you get this really nice stretch running up from the lower back up through the back of the neck. And we'll just again be here for a couple of minutes. And this way you can really start to notice how much the breath does move, because when we start to create these shapes that open up the skin a little bit more, as we inhale you can start to feel that little bit of stretch against the skin. So just be here for a moment. And what do you feel? Is this pose appropriate for my body? Do I need to bend my knees a little bit more? As the mind naturally starts to drift off and wander, we come back to our anchor, bell. There are 3 flying ants having a strange little fight over here, right in front of me. Hence why I'm kind of like amazed by what's going on my map. And then slowly coming out of the pose, we'll take a moment just to maybe flick your flying ants off the yoga mat for a moment. And then we're going to come into our backs just for a moment before we begin our flow. So we're just going to come into a pose called constructive rest, which is one of my favourites as much as the butterfly is. Apparently I'm always called to the these hip poses. Maybe I'm holding on to a lot of stuff. So we're gonna come onto our backs, wiggle the feet out about mat width apart, and just allow the knees to soften towards each other. For those of you guys that this isn't actually that comfortable for you, you can wiggle the feet in a little bit closer and point the knees up to the sky. So there's a couple of options with this one, but this is quite an accessible pose for most of us. And once you kind of settle into this, there's real great power in the stillness and this real yin quality of energy, the grounding energy of our practice. So just place the hands into the belly and just allow the subtleties to really be your focus of the practice. Even if you can't feel anything that intense in the body, what little sensations can we notice? The subtlety of the outer hips just beginning to release. With this one, we might even introduce a mantra. Inhale, let, and exhale, go. As we lie here, just in your mind, you can say the words, let, go, let, go. Just find your own rhythm with this, just for a few more moments. And you can even begin to bring this mantra as a way to release the expectations of yourself throughout this practice. If the mind is feeling really busy today and you keep wandering off, when you catch yourself wandering, inhale, let, and exhale, go. If you feel as if maybe the body is restricting you in some way, or you're not happy with how the pose looks, inhale, let, and exhale, go. Let, go. Just taking a couple more breaths here, guiding us through the last part of our yin practice. That lunar, that cooling and calming energy that allows us to settle into this connection to ourselves and to the earth. And when you're ready, just slowly wiggle the feet in a little bit closer if you're not already there. Gently rocking the knees from side to side. Just feeling this gentle massage across the lower back. Maybe observing any points of lingering tenderness or stiffness here. And hug the knees in towards the chest, wrap the arms around the shins. You might begin a little wiggle from side to side. And then to bring a little bit of energy back into our practice, just to give ourselves a little bit of oomph for our flow, bring the hands to the backs of the hamstrings and just begin a gentle little rock forwards and backwards. Inhale rocks you back. Oh, there's a tree trunk behind me. Inhale rocks you back, and exhale brings you up, and then slowly coming to crossing the ankles over. Press the hands into the earth, and if you can, just slowly rising up into a mountain pose. So you guys might have to do this in a way that's more appropriate for your body. You can turn to one side and press the hand into the earth as well. Otherwise, just wiggling the feet out, and we're just going to come to a strong mountain pose. So the feet are going to be about hip width or a little bit wider. Allow yourself a moment to lift the toes up off the earth, spread them apart, and then one toe at a time place them into the earth. Do a very soft bend into the knees and bring the palms so that they're facing forwards. Take a moment just to close off the eyes and just maybe rocking yourself forwards and backwards, feeling through the weight of the body and into the soles of the feet. And take a moment to really bring this yin energy into our standing practice now. Embracing this stillness, embracing where you start to feel the connection between you and the earth. Take a big breath in through the nose and feel that elevation up through the crown of the head once again. And on the exhale, just allow the shoulders to melt away from the ears. Slowly begin to open up the eyes and inhale, sweep the hands up towards the sky. Bring the palms to touch and exhale slowly back through heart center. Okay, so we'll begin a tiny little flow now before we close off our practice. Inhale, hands reach to the sky again. You bring the palms to touch and exhale, bend the knees slowly. Begin to fold yourself forwards over the tops of the neck. Inhale, hands are going to come to the shins or to the upper thighs as we just gently look forwards halfway there. Exhale, float yourself down towards the earth into a forward fold. Inhale, hands reach all the way wide. Feel into the feet, really press the soles of the feet into the earth. Hands touch them. Once again, exhale, flow all the way back down towards the ground. Hands float to the earth. Inhale, hands come to the shins or to the upper thighs. Halfway, lift that back. And exhale, float yourself all the way down towards the earth. Inhale, hands reach wide all the way up towards the sky. Fingertips to touch. Little sun floats just to bring ourselves back into the body. Exhale through heart center. One more round. Inhale up to the sky. Exhale, dive all the way down towards the earth. Inhale, looking up halfway there. And then plant the hands into the earth. Step yourself back into a plank position. As we come into plank, press the heels away from the body. Grounding through the upper back as you ground the hands into the earth. Then slowly drop the knees to the ground. Bring the bottom to the sky. Chest and chin land in between the thumbs. Now press through the tops of the feet. Inhale, slowly rise up halfway. Upward facing dog. Cobra. And then exhale, come back into a child's pose for a moment. Forehead to the ground. Inhale, slowly begin to rise up into a downward facing dog. We're going to bring the tailbone to the sky. Feet about hip width apart. Hands about shoulder width apart. Allow the chin to drop towards the chest, and you can bring a soft bend into the knees just to allow the tailbone to reach a little bit higher towards the sky. Gently pedaling the feet out one heel at a time. When you're ready, inhale, rise up onto the balls of the feet. Begin to slowly walk the feet towards the hands. Inhale, we'll come to a halfway lift, flat back. And exhale, we flow back down, forward fold. Inhale, hands reach all the way up to the sky, palms to connect, and slowly back through heart center. Okay, so now guys, we're just going to come into one of my personal favorites for that grounding energy, our tree pose. So we're going to start on our right foot. So we're just using those techniques that we use for our mountain pose just to kind of invite into this tree. So spreading the toes apart, lifting them off the ground and feeling that lift of the inner arch of the foot. Then you can just have a little play with just bouncing a little bit onto that right knee, just seeing how it feels, what's the stability, and then just placing either that left foot to the heel to the inner arch, heel to the inner ankle, or you can place that left foot to the inner calf. So If you're feeling a little bit more confident today, or if you're a little bit more experienced in the practice, you can place that left foot to the inner right thigh as well. But I really just want you to pay attention to making sure you're not pushing actually against the knee joint, either above or below. If you're placing the left foot to the inner right thigh, see if we can really create this kind of like tree trunk stability. So pushing that right inner thigh back into the left foot, so you've got these opposing forces. And gently bring the hands into heart center, prayer position. And now, if you're feeling a little bit wobbly, remember you can always place a hand against the wall. You can maybe find a point to gaze at in front of you. I'm sorry, there's a lot of noises going on around this video. I think I've managed to catch the window where there's a lot of people around now. As we bring the hands into heart center, just take a moment to maybe focus on something in front of you. Be with the breath. Invite the qualities of tree into your practice. The softness of the upper body, like the branches flowing in the wind, but the stability of the trunk. Inhale, float the hands up towards the sky, fingertips to touch. And then bring the palms out wide, find the branches of the tree. And then you can just begin to gently sway, maybe from side to side, feeling that strength of the lower body, but the fluidity of the upper body. Still connected to the breath. And when you're ready, hands come back into heart center and slowly drop that left foot back down to the earth. And take a moment just to add some movement into that right leg, maybe just circling the ankles out a little bit. Inhale, hands reach up towards the sky, fingertips to touch. Exhale, fold all the way down towards the earth. Take a moment just to pause in forward fold. We'll take hold of opposite elbow. Just allow the chin to drop towards the chest and just a gentle little sway from side to side. Big breath up into the belly. A big exhale to sigh and let it go. Release the hands to the earth, chin drops towards the chest, slowly round the upper back as you rise back up into your mountain pose. We'll take our tree onto the other side. So now we're going to come into our left foot, gently lifting the left toes off the earth, spreading the toes apart, and one toe at a time, that just placing them back into the earth. Now the right heel can come to the ankle, it can come to the inner thigh, or it can come to the inner calf. Remember that sensation of opposing forces, pushing that left leg back into the right foot to feel this real stability and strength of the tree. Bring the hands into heart center. Take a moment just to find your presence here with your breath, maybe with the mantra, releasing the expectations from this pose. If we're feeling wobbly today, we invite kindness into our practice. So many noises going on right now. Sorry. Bring the hands into heart center. And if you feel ready and comfortable, we can maybe float the hands up towards the sky. We can connect the palms and stay here, or we can release the arms and use them just like they would branches in the wind, just maybe swaying from side to side. Maybe you do get a little bit wobbly, and remember that is okay. This practice that we are a part of is all a journey, and we're always learning and growing and challenging ourselves. Slowly release the right foot to the earth. Take a moment just to be still with the mountain. Lift the toes up off the earth, both feet on the ground, palms facing forward. And even if there's loads of distractions and noises around you, we have this calmness within, without reacting to what's around us. We are still. We are connected to that inner silence and stillness. When we're ready, We inhale, sweep the hands up to the sky. We exhale, connect the palms and float back down to forward fold. Inhale, we look up halfway, lift flat back. As we plant the hands into the ground, we'll step back into a plank just for a moment. Drop the knees to the ground, cross the ankles over, find our way to seated. So this was just a short flow that I took you guys through today. And I just wanted to bring you through that little bit of flow at the end, just in case this is a morning practice, or even if you're doing it in the evening, just a way to get a little bit of movement in the body after a yin practice. I always think it brings a much better sense of awareness in the body after we take some time to just really be. So we're going to finish off the practice today with just a few moments in our seated position, bringing hands to the knees, finishing off the way that we started, and just noticing maybe any changes, any differences to the body from when we first arrived here. Go step by step from the feet to the sitting bones, to the way that the vertebrae are stacked on top of each other, the gentle drawing of the belly button to the spine, and the gliding of the shoulders away from the ears. Be with all the sounds around you. Be with all the sensations in the body. Feel free to take a couple more rounds of that grounding breath we did at the start. Otherwise, I will leave you here to simply be here in this moment. Namaste.